YouTube, what's going on? What's happening? As always, I am Hadou, and today I wanted to bring you an interesting kind of video. We all have our different opinions about Gears of War, some good, some bad, some in the middle, and I tend to have a lot of hot takes, not just on Gears, but on other games and shows and whatever. So I figured I would put a video together talking about some of my Gears of War hot takes and see what you guys think. Got a couple of interesting ones that I want to run by you. And remember, these hot takes are just all my opinion, so it might not be necessarily what you agree with, but some of these I think you guys might relate to. So without further ado, here are 5 Gears of War hot takes. So this first one is one that I've gone back and forth on, and I feel pretty strongly about it at this point, and that's that the roll is pretty useless. In the original games, I feel like roadie running and then rolling made you a little faster, helped you travel further than if you were just to roadie run. And I think that's what started this whole, if you notice in the beginning of a match, the whole team will immediately roll out of spawn to get a head start. Then we'll be roadie running and then we'll kindly hit the roll and keep doing that over and over. In the old games, you were like faster, I feel like, when you did that, versus now there's no real advantage to roadie running the whole way versus roadie running and then rolling. That's at least what I've observed. And there's other instances where rolling, can be useful, like when you're going up and down stairs. Obviously you're just kind of making one quick leap forward or leap backwards, and even if you're nice with it, if you're roadie running away from somebody, you can hit a quick roll backwards, and if they're not expecting it, you can get a quick kill. But nowadays, I don't think it really is an advantage. Again, you aren't faster with the roadie run than you are just running, and if somebody's quick enough or has high enough sensitivity on their mouse and keyboard or controller, they can just turn around and shoot you pretty easily these days. It's not just only a console driven game anymore. And the biggest reason why I see an issue with rolling is because now there's just so many misinputs of people rolling when they didn't mean to, whether they were trying to wall bounce or they were just trying to run forward. I see it all the time, and it happens to me all the time, where you hit the roll and you don't mean to roll, and now you're just in slow motion watching your life flash before your eyes as you roll into your death. Because the person in front of you, unless they just had a bad day, they're not going to miss. And every time you just think, I didn't mean to roll, I didn't mean to roll. So let me know what you guys think about this. I really don't find too many advantages with the roll. Hot take, might want to take it out the game, but then again, it's kind of a tradition. But let me know what you think. I feel like it doesn't give much benefit anymore like it did in the previous games. Now this next hot take is one that I do feel strongly about, and that's that the newer weapons introduced in Gears 3 should never have been introduced into Gears. To be more specific, I'm talking about weapons like the Retro and the Sawed Off, and if you want to fast forward to Gears 5, the Overkill. Now, don't get me wrong, new weapons aren't a bad thing. If you just release the game with the same weapons every game, then it's not really fresh, you're not getting really anything new or creative out of it. So I'm not saying don't put new weapons in the game. I'm just saying they have to be balanced. If you're going to add variety, they can't give players just this crazy advantage. So the Sawed Off, for example, when it first came out, I was not a big fan in Gears of War 3. And what I'll say is that it was fairly balanced. The range was not very good. You literally had to be in front of somebody to get blown away, and you only got 2 shots. After that, you had a super slow reload time. So that's what I would consider fairly balanced. In shotgun battles, you still were probably losing, but compared to now, it's hard to really see it as that bad. Because when you look at the Overkill in Gears 5, that weapon should not exist. It's just a super shotgun with dumb range and crazy damage. And just the fact that that exists just falls in line with the idea that I think these weapons were put in games to make the game easier to obviously appeal to a broader audience. And again, there's nothing wrong with attracting more people to play your game, but don't just give freebie weapons that are kind of broken. The Retro is kind of in that category for me. You know, I think it obviously with all the kickback has its own drawbacks, but the retro is really strong. And if you're with a shotgun in front of somebody with a retro, you might just lose that fight. So, you know, it's fun. I love the execution, but the general hot take here is that some of these weapons, as much as some people love them, I think just made the game a lot easier and made it so that you didn't have to necessarily be better at it. So I'll take a good old-fashioned natural fight any day. This third hot take is one that actually surprised me a little bit, but as of recently, I feel like I kind of really feel this way. And that's that Horde is the most fun game mode in Gears of War. Now, before you go off this liking video, hold on, let me explain. So, the Gears campaign is really cool. I love the campaign. I played every campaign, and I love the multiplayer. Some modes more than others. I'm particularly fond of King of the Hill, Execution. Even Arms Race is kind of fun if you're just really just trying to do something different. But if I think back to some of my best Gears of War memories with friends back in the day, weirdly enough, a lot of them were in Horde. There's just something about fighting off waves of locusts with your friends next to you. I mean, it's kind of the vibe of campaign in general. That's why we all fell in love with Delta Squad. And just to have that opportunity with the friends around you, or even if you queue into a good match with randoms, like, it's really a fun experience. And what I'll say, first of all, is that I know the mechanics of Horde have changed, especially in Gears 4 and Gears 5, with the different classes and fabricators and things of that nature. So I'm more alluding to the previous Horde experiences, and even kind of the newer Horde isn't that bad, in my opinion. But I think Horde offers the most fun with your friends potential. Just the idea that you guys can be fighting off locusts with different weapons and things can get so crazy. I remember just hilarious stuff happening like Gears 2, for example. Just one person standing and you think they're gonna make it and they get just bodied in the most hilarious way. I know Horde is not shown as much love as it might have been in the past games, and game modes like Escape just, I don't think, needed to exist. I don't think that's a hot take, but let me know. But yeah, Horde is just a fun time if you've got the right people around you, and especially if you just got some free time. You can spend hours in Horde just playing with friends on top of enjoying the multiplayer on the side. So I don't hate the fabricator idea, and I don't hate the idea of having like a mechanic and, you know, other classes specific to a certain role. But let me be clear, by no means do I want them to ever assign specific abilities to characters ever again. That was a step backwards for Gears 5, and I think they took the right step of just offering it up to everybody. So I'm interested to see if they throw Horde, you know, an interesting twist, but keep it consistent, keep it fun, and maybe throw beast mode out there as well. This fourth one is one that I don't like to give as a take, but I think it's fairly true, and actually a lot of you might agree with it, to be honest. And that's that nostalgia is kind of saving the franchise. If you asked a lot of people, the majority of them, if not all of them, would tell you that the first Gears trilogy has their favorite game, if not all of their favorite games, and that the newer games, Gears 4, Gears 5, you know, Tactics, if you played it, don't really hit home the way the other games did. And there's a lot of questionable and unpopular decisions that were made in the latest games, especially Gears 5, whether it's the direction of the campaign, just how content and maps are rolled out, the overall game performance. There's a lot of things that, you know, are well documented across the internet that didn't go well with a lot of us fans. But the hot take I would say is that my favorite part of the new Gears games is the new content they bring for old legacy characters. And what I mean by that is, no matter what's going on in the story, no matter what skins they release, all I really look forward to is when they bring back these old characters. Hey, when's Dom coming back? Hey, are they gonna throw in Alicia? You know, or when's Hoffman gonna be a DLC character, or Scourge, or Queen Mira? I think that speaks to the fact that really we want Gears to be something new and crazy and take off on this new adventure, but a lot of us, I think, are kind of riding the nostalgia train. And obviously companies know that, but that's kind of unfortunate because that means that, you know, especially with a lot of things these days, it's going to be the nostalgia that keeps us playing the game, not so much the improvements on the story and the development and just the overall content that's given to us. So it's not a take I like to give because I wish it wasn't true, but I do strongly feel that nostalgia is kind of saving the franchise. And that's not to say I hope they only throw in old characters and old stuff in the next game, but I'm hopeful that Gears 6 can give us the nostalgic feel that Gears of War always gave us and that we fell in love with, while introducing things to us that we've never seen before. And that brings us to this last hot take, and it's also one that I don't necessarily like to give, but I think Gears 6 should be the last Gears game. Now, I love Gears of War, as I've stated, and I would love nothing more than to see Gears continue to thrive in some kind of new environment or just some form of something we've never seen. But let's be honest, the Locusts have come back to life more times than, you know, like a Halloween serial killer. You know, Michael Myers, Jason, they don't even have as many lives as the Locusts do. A lot of the story aspects in the new Gears games, 4 and 5, were at least attempted to be recycled and weren't even as gripping as the original trilogy. So now we're in this weird place where like we brought Gears back, but it seems like the quality isn't what we were used to, and now we're, you know, lost interest, and it's hard to see the direction forward, where to go, at least after Gears 6. I think Gears 6 can definitely wrap up a lot of things and even throw in a lot of cool things, but I can't help but feel like if there was a cliffhanger at the end of Gears 6, I'd be kind of disappointed, just because I don't see how you can go forward with the story without kind of diminishing its value. And what I'll say about Gears 5, specifically Gears 5, in this new trilogy, is that it added in a lot of backstory and lore and just story tie-ins that we might not have necessarily got out of the original games, especially just the genetic link to the Locusts and even how the Locusts started. They got a little bit of that into that in Gears 2, but Gears 5 I think really brought that home in a way that just made a lot of sense to people. So I do appreciate Gears 5 for giving that insight into just the campaign and the story and the backstory history of like a lot of things going on, even introducing a lot of UIR stuff we hadn't seen before. But the point I'm trying to make is Gears 6 should be, in my opinion, a conclusion of that. Give a lot of closure to our favorite old characters, and again, just because of my point of how we're in love with the traditional old characters, I don't see how you introduce a new spin to the story, at least within the existing universe that was built. I think we tried it with Gears 4 and Gears 5, but essentially we just brought back the Locusts in different clothes, and the Swarm are just the Locusts. Like it didn't really give us enough, and the new aspects didn't grip us enough. So I love the style of Gears. I'm sure you all agree that Gears is an experience of its own, between the universe, the play style, everything around it, even the grittiness that came up in the original games. It just offers something that you don't get out of a lot of other games these days. But if we try to extend the story anymore, I feel like we risk diluting it, at least more than it kind of already is. And I've seen that happen to too many games and too many shows. I mean, how many Fast and Furious do we have these days? Anyway, that's my hot take. Let me know if you guys disagree with that or if you agree with that, because I would love for there to be a new chapter of Gears after this. I just want it to make sense. Let's not do something for the sake of doing it without knowing it's going to really hit home, or just focusing on the profits it'll give us. So there you go. Those are 5 Gears of War hot takes of mine. I probably have a handful more that if you guys want to hear them, I'd love to share them. But in general, I want to hear what you guys think. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. You know, share it with your friends. Like it if you agree with a lot of these. You know, just in general, what do you think about Gears that maybe a lot of people don't agree with? What I've learned about the Gears community is that we're all very opinionated, and I think it's good to share those opinions and just discuss, and you know, maybe from it we'll get a lot of good feedback to the game companies who are working on Gears 6 right now. So that'll do it for this one though, guys. As always, I appreciate the love, the support on my channel, on all my content. Trying to just think of new Gears videos to drop. Obviously right now there's not a whole lot going on with Gears and this and that, but looking to put out some more stuff, so be on the lookout. And that'll do it for me, so take care.